Yay, we made it. Hello. No, I still am not happy with this. I've been fiddling with my tripod for like the last couple minutes because it just couldn't get it in the right spot. I'm still too close. It's fine. It's good enough. I'm coming to you live from my kitchen. I have to fix my pants. They're falling down. Because the lighting's better, we have like this, okay, it's not really, but we have this magnificent magical light under our cupboards. And it's just, look at it glowing. Perfect. So that's why I'm here, and I'm sitting on our stool so that it worked out in perfect timing. Hello, Talia. Hello, and other people will come on soon. So now that I'm on, I'll just get started anyway. So, okay, I'm gonna take a breath now. I was like in the middle of making my dinner. I'm only like halfway through it, so I need to like get through this and then I can keep cooking. Okay, so for today, we are doing a bit of nutrition. Actually, it's pretty much all nutrition. So we're going to talk about all things hydration and then why you're not getting results, even though you're eating healthy, you're doing the right things, you're going to the gym, you're doing everything you can. I don't know where to look. But you feel like you're plateauing. So I'm not really going to talk I might talk a little bit of science, but otherwise it's going to be pretty, your language so that it's like the easiest way to understand it. So obviously my first things first, I have to put out a disclaimer. I'm currently studying health science and nutritional medicine. I'm not yet a qualified nutritional advisor. So everything that I say to you is from my textbooks, it's from my lecturers, it's from assessments that have passed, and from my study material, and it's to be taken as general knowledge, not as a medical replacement, okay? So that's that. Obviously, you guys all know who I am, you know I'm Hope, so please give credit to me when you share about it. Also, if you have, I'll make sure I can see comments. Yes, I can. If you have any questions or anything throughout, pop them up. I don't really want, you don't have to let me know if you're watching the replay or the live, that's fine, but if you want to, by all means, I love seeing when people are watching them. My laptop is with me, so you'll notice me look away. I'm just looking at my laptop. I'm not ignoring you. So we'll get started with hydration. Now, hydration is one of my favorite topics because it is super underrated. A lot of people are just like, oh yeah, I drink water and I drink my coffee and I drink tea and I drink everything. And that's cool, that's awesome. But there is a difference between hydration from water and hydration from fluid. And fluid, I love you, but it doesn't count. You need to be drinking water. If you've got water with electrolytes, that's fine. Sports drinks are really high in sugar, so it's not my favorite thing, but by all means, it's better than nothing. Coffee and tea, and if you have an alternative caffeine, so like Red Bull, I know I have my fizzies, some of you might have, beautiful, you're right, Nick. Just listen, if you have any questions, tune in. Some people might use, I don't know, there's heaps of different things out there. I know they chop and change all the time. There's always different caffeinated things that come onto the market. That's not the point of my topic, so moving on. So hydration does not include caffeine. If you're saying to me, but I have 3 cups of coffee a day, I'm fine. No, you're not fine, and I will explain why. So when I talk about hydration, I'm talking about water, not fluid. Now, reasons why it would be more effective if you could see my screen, but so you can have a look at the numbers there. Water in, water out, numbers. Okay, I'll just hold it there for a second. It's probably backwards. That's what I'm going to tell you anyway. So we're going to talk about water balance. Okay, so the thing with water balance is obviously the water that comes into your body via beverages, food, and your metabolic processes. Byproducts of certain processes is normally water, so you get some that way. But obviously, if you're dehydrated, that byproduct it's not a sustainable source to be relying on for fluid. Water, not fluid, water. Okay, so from beverages, you want to be having around 500 to 1500 milliliters of water. Now that is very basic, and I'm going to tell you to have a minimum of like 2 liters. Realistically, you want to be having like, I think it's something like 20 mils for every kilo, not 20 mils, it might be 20 mils for every kilo of your body. So for me, it's like 2.5 liters or something. I normally can have about like 2 to 3 liters of water a day, and sometimes that's still not enough. So everyone's water is different. Anyway, getting sidetracked. So beverages, you get between 500 to 1500 mils. Food, you get around 700 mils to a liter. And then metabolic processes, you get between 200 to 300 mils of water. So that's a total range of around 1,450 mils to 2,800 mils of water in. When it comes to water out, this is a really, really interesting thing. We have 4 main things that actually utilize water to remove it from your body, okay? So there are detoxing organs. And so that's our kidneys, our skin, our lungs, and our GI tract. You all know how much I love the intestines. Now, that is obviously through kidneys, is through urination. So you get about 500 to 1,400 mils out. Your skin, so this is through sweat or evaporation loss, is around 450 mils to 900 mils. Your lungs, so when you're breathing, you're actually exhaling water. It's obviously evaporated water, but you're still exhaling water from the processes that happen within your lungs. And then from your GI tract, which is actually from your feces, is about 150 mils. So this is where if you're dehydrated, you will most certainly get constipated, because if you're not getting enough fluid in, your body will extract, I think that's the right word, as much fluid as it can from your colon and your large intestine out of your feces in order to keep the water balance inside. So you see it a lot in kids when they're super constipated. You'll see it with people that have any chronic bowel discomfort, like your Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome, no, leaky gut's different. Celiac disease, sometimes they have that too. So that's why. Obviously there's other things that lead to that, but that can be a thing as well. Now the water out is the exact same as water in. 1,450 mils to almost 3 liters. So 2,800 mils. So can you see just from that, I mean, you can't see, but just from hearing that the water in from beverages, food, and your metabolic processes versus the water out is actually the exact same. So this is why it's important for you to be actually drinking more. I say that word a lot. Drinking more than what you think, because we'll get through that, because it's important. I'm jumping ahead. Okay, so then in addition to that, this is why it's important to drink more, is because we also have an additional excretion of water, which is our obligatory water excretion, or obligatory, however you want to say that word, you know what I mean? And this is the amount of water that our body has to excrete each day to dispose of its waste. And that is equal to about 500 mils. So basically that can be anything. It's normally through sweat. So it's in addition to the what we spoke about before, is an additional 500 mils. And this happens regardless of what you're doing, whether you're sitting down doing nothing, whether you're exercising, whether you are in bed sleeping. Like, I know sometimes I wake up and I'm a sweaty mess and drooling. I'm a hot show in the morning. So that's an extra 500 mils on top of that 1.5 to almost 3 liters that your body is excreting. Now, this is why hydration is so important, because you can imagine that if you're only drinking, let's just say 1 liter, if you're only drinking 1 liter of water, but your body is excreting 3 liters of water, how fantastic do you think you're feeling that day? Not very. All right, dietary sources and recommended intakes. So this depends obviously on the size and the activity of a person, but the adequate intake for men is normally it's averaged at about 3.4 liters a day. And then for women, it's 2.8 liters a day. So it's almost 3 liters of water a day to be able to cover all of those removals. All good, Fiona. You can watch the replay. That's all good, honey. So they, hang on. What am I reading? Oh, that's what that is. So remember how at the beginning, sorry, I'm all over it. Do you remember how at the beginning I said it's roughly like 0.2, so 20 mils, sorry, I won't give you numbers, 20 mils per kilo. It's actually 24 mils per kilo expended for adults. So it's equivalent to roughly, and this is actually in terms of kilos, but also food, it's equivalent to roughly 2 liters of water a day for the average kilojoule intake that people are meant to have. So if that makes sense, does that make sense? That's to do with like what's going in as well as what's coming out. This slide confuses me a little bit, I'm gonna be honest. But basically you can get fluid from food as well. So the couple examples that I have is that from iceberg lettuce, you can get 95 grams of fluid per 100 grams of serve. From celery, you can get 95 grams of fluid per 100 grams of serve. And from an apple, you can get 84 grams of fluid per 100 grams of serve. So remembering as well that water does not provide any kilojoules, it's just fluid. And why I wanted to actually talk on this is because when you've got people that are really struggling with staying stagnant in their weight loss journey, or staying stagnant, not even weight loss journey, that, I can't believe I just said that, staying stagnant or plateauing in where they're at and where they want to be, usually dehydration is a massive part of that. Because if your body's not hydrated enough, your body's not able to move things along, and it ends up getting needing to store these toxins that actually makes you create more fat, because your body stores toxins in adipose tissues. I'm kind of going on a rant, I'm sorry. But your body stores toxins in adipose tissue, because if it doesn't, those toxins will then go to your vital organs. And what do you think will happen if your body is full of toxic ingredients, so to speak? Fill in the blank. Yeah, okay. So why is water so important? This is my favorite thing in the world. I think it's so cool. Now, all of you have probably heard of the fact that if you are thirsty, or you get the sensation of thirst, it's too late. Your body is like, you should have already had water, whatever, you never want to feel thirsty. And the reason why is because once you feel thirsty, your body doesn't say I'm thirsty because I want water. It actually says I'm thirsty because our water levels are already too low. So once you're thirsty, it's because the amount of water your body needs in order to balance has decreased, it's dropped, and it needs you to actually replenish them. So that's obviously why you want to be sipping through water all throughout the day, even if you're not thirsty, because that's where you want to be, because that way your body isn't actually out of balance. So what actually happens when you've got water loss? If you have, let me know if this is making sense, if you have any questions, by the way. If you have 1 to 2% loss of body water, keeping in mind, so before I explain this, that about 60% of the human body is water. So that includes your cells, cells, which includes everything, right? Everything is made of cells. The chain of how things work is that it's our chemical reaction, then it goes to cellular, then it goes to, I feel like I missed something, but then it goes to cellular, tissue, muscle, system. No, that's it, that's the 5. So chemical, cellular, tissue, muscle, system. And obviously within all of that chemical function is fluid, sort of. So if you lose 1 to 2% of your body water, you will experience thirst, fatigue, weakness, vague discomfort, and a loss of appetite. We all know that if you're not eating, your body is going to store fat as well, right? If you lose 3 to 4% of your body water, you will have impaired physical performance, dry mouth, reduction in urination, flushed skin, impatience, and apathy, so agitation. 5 to 6% loss of water is difficulty concentrating, headaches, irritability, sleepiness, impaired temperature regulations, and increased respiratory rate. And then 7 to 10% loss of your body water is dizziness, muscle spasm, loss of balance, delirium, exhaustion, and collapsing. So basically, once you get there, it's kind of like heat stroke. That's the easiest way for me to understand it anyway. And so why this is important is because, think about it, most of you guys are mum, how regularly do you see these kinds of symptoms in your kids or in yourself? And the reason why I bring up kids is because kids actually have a higher amount of water that is excreted than we do, because their systems are still developing, their bladder can't hold as much fluid, they're a lot smaller, so everything in their metabolic rate happens a lot faster, happens a lot faster. They're a lot more active than us, because obviously kids have different responsibilities. Their responsibility is to get out, get active, develop, learn, experience, grow. And so they're consistently doing things, so they're consistently actually losing fluid. Yeah, moving on. Functions of water is it regulates your body temperature, protects body organs and tissues, helps prevent constipation, helps dissolve minerals and other nutrients to make them accessible to the body. So if you're dehydrated, your body's not absorbing nutrients, you're going to be more hungry, you're going to store more weight, you're going to eat more. There's so many things. Drink your water. Carries nutrients and oxygen to cells. Oxygen to cells. Lessens the burden on the kidneys and liver by flushing out waste products. This is so important because water will take the backlash of the wastes and help it move along versus leaving that burden just on your kidney and liver, right? How many people do you know over time that end up with issues with these two particular organs? It's actually a lot higher than you would expect. Water lubricates joints, and then it moistens tissues, maybe I just can't say that word properly, such as those in the eyes, mouth, and nose. Okay, so you'll notice if you're dehydrated, you get dry eyes, your nose might get a bit irritated, and obviously your mouth gets really dry. Okay, recommended water intake. This is kind of average. This doesn't take into consideration if you're active and whatnot either. So for a little human, 0 to 6 months, so your infants, is 0.7 liters. I'm not a mum. I'm pretty sure when they're that age, they just get, they get that from breast milk. You don't give them water. You guys know that. 0 to 8 months is 7 to 12 months, I read the wrong thing, is 0.8 liters. Then 1 to 3 years is just over a liter. 4 to 8 years is almost 2 liters. So if you have an 8-year-old, are they drinking 2 liters of water, or are you giving them poppers all the time? Oh, I just almost swore. Fuck. Oh, I just did it anyway. Oh my God. Then 9 to 13 is almost 2.5 liters. 14 to 18 years, these ones are boys, sorry. So 9 to 13 years boys, 2.5 liters. 14 to 18 years of boys, 3.3 liters. I can guarantee you they're not drinking this much water. For girls, 9 to 13 is 2 liters, 2.1 liters. 14 to 18-year-old girls, it's 2.3 liters. And then over 18 years for men is 3.7 liters. Over 18 years for women is 2.7 liters. So there's a whole liter difference between us and our other people. And then if you're pregnant, it is 3 liters. If you are lactating, if you're breastfeeding, it is 3.8 liters. So almost 4 liters of water if you're breastfeeding. And for that, you might be like, that's a lot. That's actually, it's super important because it's not just to hydrate your body and to make sure that your milk and everything is doing its thing. It's also because if you're not drinking enough water and your body isn't able to get rid of the toxins that it needs to get rid of, all of that actually goes into your breast milk and into your baby. So it's really important that you're drinking the right amount of fluids. All right, I can move that now. Now, the other thing I wanted to speak about, the reason caffeinated drinks don't count, and this is so important, is because if you're consuming a caffeinated drink, and I know most people start their day off with a coffee. You might have breakfast and coffee. For some of you, you might have coffee as your breakfast. I'm not judging. But what happens when you consume coffee, or any caffeinated drink, I'm just using coffee because I know that's the most common in our people, is that the caffeine is a diuretic, right? So we know diuretic means you pee more. So if you were drinking 100 mils of coffee, so that's less than a cup, so you guys will be having more than that, you will excrete, so for every 100 mils, you excrete 110 mils. So if you're consuming a cup of coffee, so just say 250 mils, your body is going to excrete 275 mils of fluid. Now, if you're not replenishing that, and that might not sound like a lot, like 25 mils, okay, cool, it's like this much. But that might not sound like a lot, but if you're having 3 coffees a day, plus a Coke, plus a cordial, plus, I don't know what else is out there, an alcoholic beverage of an evening, what are you actually doing to your body? Like, seriously, and don't just listen and be like, oh yeah, that means I'm there. Like, what are you actually doing to your body? You're all at the gym because you want to improve your body. You're all at the gym because you want to feel better about yourselves. You're all here listening to me, whether you're watching this video or you work with me in a class. I don't goddamn care. You're there because you want to look after yourself. I do care, but you're there because you want to look after yourself. You want to learn more. You want to know what's happening and how you can improve where you're at. Start with drinking more water. Now, I'm not saying to stop drinking coffees or stop drinking alcohol or whatever. That's fine, but add more water. It is so much easier to add something than to take something away. But if you keep that in mind, that if you're consuming an alcoholic beverage as well as a caffeinated beverage, you're going to excrete more water. You're going to lose more water, so you need to make sure you're replenishing that. And it's quite simple. Just have coffee and then have a glass of water after it. Or make sure that you're consuming 3 water bottles that are a liter. Or if you're having a 600 ml bottle, that means you're having 6 of them. And you know, you might be like, well, how do I do that? Like, I struggle to drink a glass of water. Or maybe you're someone where the only water you get is when you brush your teeth. You chug it. Like, you chug the water. If you can do shots, you can chug water. Like, I don't know if you guys do shots, but you know. So yeah, that's my spill on hydration. We're going to now move into why you're not seeing results even though you're eating healthy, even though you're exercising, even though you're doing all the things. Now, there's like 150 different variables to this topic, and I could speak for hours, but I have like 5 minutes left. But it's okay, we can go a little bit over. If you have any questions so far about anything, chuck them in. I know some of you are just popping up now, so you're fine. Now, okay, I'm just going to talk about the gut for this particular segment, okay? Because obviously I'm not face-to-face with you guys and I can't ask you 150 questions to tell you exactly what's going on. So we're going to go about the gut. Now, what happens when you, let's just be really honest, what happens when you abuse your body and for years you're consuming fast food, you're under a lot of stress, you're not moving, you're not doing anything? We all know that you blow up like a balloon. You can become unhealthy, you can become obese, you can become super wide, whatever you want to say. You change, okay? Your body shape changes. Now, if you've been doing something like that, or if you've been in this position for 10 years, or maybe it's only been 2 years, but you know, you've had similar habits for so long, but it's only taken the last couple years for it to actually manifest and show up in your body, what makes you think that coming to the gym or going on a diet for like 2 weeks is actually going to make any change to that? And I ask that because I see it all the time. I see it in our gym, I see it in other gyms, and I see it all over social media where people are like, I'm doing this diet because I want to fix the way I look. And then after 2 weeks, they're like, nothing's happened and everything's still the same and I still feel like rubbish. I'm just going to go back to how I was before. And then they go backwards and they never actually progress forward. And so what I wanted to actually touch on and just bring to your attention is the fact that if it takes so long, like disease is not an overnight thing, right? You don't wake up and suddenly have cancer. You don't wake up and suddenly have CVD disease. You don't wake up and suddenly all your blood pressure is high. It is something that happens progressively over time. It is a compound interest effect. It is something that if you're consistently doing the same habitual behavior, you're going to get the result of that. Now, whether it's positive or negative is up to you. Now, I'm aware that we have a lot of moms. I'm aware that we have a lot of full-time workers. I'm aware that you guys have lives and you're busy. And some of this stuff just happens by default. That's fine. I totally accept that. I was in the exact same position as not the exact same, but similar as all of you. But it comes down to learning little things that you can do practically to actually start to see a turnaround. And so what happens with your gut, we'll come to the point of the story. I just have to give you the background information. So what happens with the gut when you're consuming healthy foods is, first of all, nothing at first. Not really a lot. And the reason why is very, very simple. Have you guys ever heard of the expression, there's 3 of you on, so I'm expecting an answer. Have you guys ever heard of the expression, you are what you eat? Yes or no? Maybe I scared you guys by saying I expect an answer. Anyway, the answer is yes. Everyone has heard the phrase, you are what you eat, or you've seen it on like a social media form. Everyone knows that phrase, but it's not true. You're not what you eat, you are what you absorb. Now, if you've been mistreating poor food choices, or maybe to you they're healthy choices, right? Like you go to Coles and Woolies, you buy a muesli bar, you think it's healthy, but when you actually look at the ingredients, it's full of sugar and it's actually doing the exact reverse of what you want. It's another talk for another day. So what happens is your gut starts to absorb all of these sugars and these things, and they genuinely destroy your gut, and they cause inflammation, they cause redness, irritability, all sorts of things, and this happens over time. So then when you go, oh my God, I'm not happy, I want to start to eat healthy, your gut will go through it, like not go through it, you'll eat it and your gut will process it and blah, blah, blah. But your gut actually needs to heal first, okay? And so to give you a representation, because we don't have eyes on the inside, you can't think of it, but if you were to cut yourself, right? Like you're in the kitchen, you're cooking and you cut yourself, it takes time. Like it doesn't matter how much treatment you put on it. It normally takes a couple weeks for that cut to like fix itself and then go, okay, cool. Now that we've fixed the bacteria is gone, we've done this, we've done that. Now it will heal. You'll get a scar, you'll get a scab. The scab comes first, then you'll get a scar and then it'll heal. Now the same thing happens with your gut. So when you're actually making that transition and consuming healthier food, your body will absorb as much as it can, but it will actually utilize those foods first to heal the gut. And sometimes, sorry, I've got messages popping up. Sometimes it takes months, it can take years for your gut to heal itself first. And I'm not saying your body's not absorbing any of the nutrients, absolutely not, it is, but it's not absorbing enough in order for it to actually start building results firsthand. Now, what happens with that, and you see it all the time, is people go, oh my God, it's taking too long. Or you look at people like Nicole, like myself, like Natalie, who have been training for years and years and years to get to where we are today, right? Yeah, okay, now Nicole's come out of the woodwork. She's like, I heard my name! Oh, no, I'm kidding. I love you. But, like, seriously, we all know Nicole's journey. Her daughter's 11. She went from, being in a miserable place to, I want to do something about it. And now she has worked through her thing. She eats healthy. She trains regularly. And now she looks like a tank. You've got me, who had a hormonal disorder. My hormones were literally screwed. I didn't get my periods for over a year. I put on a lot of weight. I was really unhappy. I was really miserable. I become a PT to try and pass the subject in school. The first time I stepped into a gym was studying to be a PT with like all of these tank men, and I had no idea what anything was. It was great. So if you get embarrassed about walking into a gym, just think about that. And so basically, it took me 3 years to even see any type of result. Any type of result. I have eaten really well. I've been vegan for nearly 5 years, and I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, I'm not saying go vegan or do anything unless you want to, but it took me 3 years of my gut healing itself and then doing a detox and a cellular detox and changing all of my habits and actually training regularly and seeing what exercises worked with my body and what exercises didn't to actually start to get a result, right? So it's been 5 years and it's still in the making. So why I'm using those examples is, sorry Nat, I don't know a lot about your fitness journey, but I know you've been training for years. So what I want you guys to remember is that you're not gonna see results straight away because your gut's not able to heal itself yet. And if you've still got an inflamed, swollen gut that's trying to break down these foods and absorb the nutrients, it's not gonna work optimally yet. So you have to allow your gut to heal itself to then be able to work optimally, to be able to remove any toxins and things that you have within your body so that it can also, oh my God, brain, catch up. Remove things from your body so then you can, it can start to see results. Now, the other thing that happens when you go on diets is they don't work. They don't work. They don't work. Don't go on diets. Don't do crazy random shake challenges. Don't do anything stupid. Just please. When you do, I get so stressed about this because I see people do it all the time and they end up setting themselves back like 3 years on like, because they were desperate and wanted a result in 5 weeks. Don't do it. Now, where was I going with that? Oh my God. Hang on, give me a second. I've got it. It's there, I promise. Like, oh my God. Oh, I got it. Okay. So when you, this is what happens when you go on diets and why they don't work. This is why you need to stay on topic, Hope. When you consume a diet, whether it's a really low calorie diet or it's an all liquid diet, whatever, what happens is your body goes into shock, right? And first of all, it's not okay to do a low calorie diet because there is a certain amount of calories your body needs just to function. And if you take that away, your body will go into panic mode and you'll set yourself back years. I'm not even gonna lie to you. You can set yourself back years. Now, a small calorie deficit, that's fine. But when you're consuming like these 800 calorie diets, all, I know there's like a juice cleanse, there's like a lemon water cleanse, there's, oh my God, that skinny me tea that basically gives you diarrhea, that's on social media. Like, if any of you have that, oh my God. Now, what happens when you take these things is that they flush out whatever's in your gut, but they don't actually heal your gut. And so when you flush that out and your body's not getting enough calories, it has to go to your stored resources. Now, we all know we store energy in our adipose tissue. Now, what did I tell you at the start of this video that you store in adipose tissue? You store toxins in those tissues. So if you see someone, I'm just gonna be really honest, and this is from my nutrition side of things. If I see someone that's obese, I know they have a gut issue. They might have leaky gut, they might have Crohn's disease, they might have irritable bowel syndrome, and it hasn't even been diagnosed yet, but I know. So, even healthy people too. But when I see them, I'm like, okay, sugar, this is happening, why? Okay, they're consuming this, and this, okay. Now, when I see someone lose weight really drastically, I'm like, okay, good for them. What have they done to their body? How much toxic things are happening? Now, when you consume food properly, after going on these diets, you will notice you put all the weight back on again, or sometimes even more. And the reason why is because when you break down adipose tissue, but you haven't allowed your gut to recover, those toxins basically float around your body. Okay, this is why people go on diets and they start to get headaches, they start to get withdrawal symptoms because they don't drink enough water, so then they're dehydrated and get the side effects of all of that. They also have all of these toxins floating around their body, so those toxins, as you can imagine, is affecting how everything works. Now, these toxins are not just absorbed via food, these toxins are also absorbed via our environment, the foods happening outside. They're actually called free radicals. So the food's happening outside, the cars, the emissions, anything, stress, when you experience stress, that causes a chemical reaction in your body. That's not a good one. What you put on your skin, a lot of cosmetics have animal byproducts and petroleum and really nasty ingredients. Like, do some Googling on what you're putting on your skin every single day. Women are exposed to more than 500 chemicals in the morning just by what they put on their skin. So then when you multiply that over a 7-day period, over the rest of your life, and then going out and being exposed to more, like, no wonder why your body's having a heart attack and you feel like rubbish. Anyway, that was off topic. So what happens is when you go on diets, your body will slim, but all of these toxins are floating around. And they go, oh my God, I can't sustain this. This isn't healthy. I need to start eating again. So they start eating again. They'll be eating healthy, but they're eating again. So their body is able to utilize that energy to recollect all of those toxins, store them in adipose tissue so that they're like safe and their body doesn't go into breakdown mode. And then it'll start to function properly. Now, I know I've given you a lot of information. I don't know if I clearly identified or said why you're not getting results, even though you're doing all the right thing. But basically, in a nutshell that I just explained in a really long time, is the fact that your gut is damaged. Your gut is hurting. Like, there's no other way to say it, right? Your gut is hurting. Whether you're healthy and you exercise all the time or not, if you're consuming allergens, if you're consuming foods that like sensitive, your gut's gonna have a reaction to them. I'm not gonna go into another tangent, I'll stay on topic. So when you're changing that cycle of what you're consuming, you need to give your body a few months, if not a year, depending on how long you've had the current or previous habits. Sometimes your body will need a year for your gut to replenish before you see anything, before you see a result. And you need to remember that the more stress your body's on, and that's not just mental, that's physical as well. If you're exercising at too high of an intensity for your body to handle, you're putting more physical stress on your body. Your body will actually have the opposite reaction to what you're going towards. So that, in a nutshell, a really big nutshell, is pretty much everything I have for you tonight. We covered 2 topics. I did pretty good. So if you have any questions, by all means, I am still here. Chuck them in. Otherwise, I am hungry and I really want to finish making my cannelloni. Because I can. I'll wait like 2 seconds. Otherwise, I'm just going to say goodbye. So if you're watching the replay, you can jump off. Nope. All right. Well, that was sour. Happy Friday, everybody. Enjoy your long weekend. I hope you're excited. I should have said this at the start, because the gym opens in a week, I think. Yeah, in a week. Yay! So, a week and like 2 days. So get excited. Things are changing. Things are happening. There's lots of exciting things happening. I love you all. I'm excited to see you all. And that's it from me. Bye-bye.